Hello, my name is Mark Hufford. I'm with My Attorney Podcast, and today I'm here with Lee Cohen.
Hi, my name is Lee Cohen. I'm an attorney in the Polk County area. I've been practicing for 27 years, primarily in Polk and Hardy counties, although I do practice anywhere in the state of Florida, but primarily in Polk and Hardy counties.
So what are the qualifications someone should look for when they need to hire an attorney?
When you're hiring a criminal defense attorney, you should focus on whether or not that attorney primarily handles criminal cases. A lot of attorneys who practice in criminal law primarily do personal injury or family. I primarily handle criminal defense cases. My practice is 90% criminal defense. And you want to look and see if the attorney has special qualifications in that area. And I am board certified in criminal trial law. You aren't going to talk to too many attorneys who are board certified in the area that they practice. And board certification means that you have special training and experience in the area that you practice and have been reviewed by peers who are also board certified to determine whether or not you can be board certified in that area.
Are there advantages to hiring a local attorney rather than someone from, say, Miami or Jacksonville or even Orlando in some cases?
There are distinct advantages in hiring an attorney where they primarily practice. There are local rules and ways of handling a case that are specific to the jurisdiction. So if I'm asked to take a case in Miami, I'm going to be straightforward with you and say that I'm not familiar with the judges, the prosecutors, and the local rules and procedures in that area, and they can have advantages in your cases. I am very familiar with the local rules and practices, judges and state attorneys in the Polk and Hardy County areas. That is an advantage for you in retaining me in this area.
So are there certain types of cases that are more prevalent in Central Florida than others?
Yes. The cases that are most prevalent in the criminal justice system are going to be drug possession cases. Other than drug possession cases, there are aggravated battery, aggravated assault cases, and then burglary cases. Those are the largest type of cases that you see prevalent in the court system. I handle everything from trespass cases and misdemeanors to murder cases and felonies. And I'm very familiar in how to handle a burglary, drug possession, or aggravated battery case.
Many people don't realize that criminal defense involves more than just representing someone that was accused of committing a crime. Can you discuss what some of these other criminal issues are?
In handling a criminal case, you want an attorney who's going to look at each element of how you're charged, do a thorough investigation as to what the facts are, what the allegations are, compare and contrast from what you are telling me, what your witnesses are telling me, and what the witnesses for the state are saying in their reports. Aside from a factual investigation and a legal examination of your case, there's also mitigation. And mitigation is very important. Mitigation is telling the prosecutor in the court who you are as a person. And there's no way that the judge or the state attorney are going to know that you have kids, that you have family commitments, and that you have a great job that all need to be protected in your journey through the criminal justice system, unless you have an attorney who looks into those things and is able to represent to the state attorney and the judge all the good things about you as a person and why other things shouldn't happen to you in the criminal justice system.
Now, a lot of attorneys handle criminal cases, but not many handle appeals. Can you talk about that?
Criminal cases involve going to trial, being in court, litigating your case in a courtroom. Appeals, however, concern something completely different. Appeals concern everything that happened in the courtroom, but in writing. And so there needs to be a lot of reading as to the examination of the issues, as to how the court dealt with your case incorrectly, identifying those issues, and being able to write a brief regarding that. And that's much different than what the normal experience of a criminal defense attorney is. You need, if you're looking for an appeal, you need someone who is familiar with handling the reading and writing and identifying issues from what is in a transcript. And I'm very familiar with how to handle an appeal.
What should someone do if they're accused of a crime?
If you're accused of a crime, first and foremost, you should recognize that you have very important constitutional rights. The most important constitutional rights when you're a target of a criminal investigation is your right to remain silent. It may sound like you're not cooperating with the police. However, your right to remain silent is so important that your assertion of your right to remain silent cannot be used against you. And so you should recognize the fact that if the police are targeting you for a crime, the very first thing that you should say is, I am choosing to remain silent pursuant to the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. You don't necessarily need to say it as completely as I just said it, but if you say, I'm going to remain silent pursuant to the Fifth Amendment, that is enough to completely assert your right to remain silent. The next thing that you should say is, I want an attorney. And the next thing that you should do is call an experienced criminal defense attorney. And if you call my office, you'll be reaching an experienced criminal defense attorney who can talk to you about what is going on regarding the investigation. If, however, the formal process has started and you are charged with a crime, talking to me and looking into the facts and circumstances of what's happening with court are very important.
When you're pulled over by law enforcement, are there any limitations to what the law enforcement officer may deem as probable cause?
When you're pulled over by a law enforcement officer and they want to look inside your car, they want to look inside your papers, they have to have probable cause or reasonable suspicion that you have committed a crime. If they're asserting to you that they have a reasonable suspicion to look inside your car, look inside your papers, to pat you down, you do need to comply because you could get charged with resisting an officer without violence. However, you don't need to say anything. So along the lines of your right to remain silent, you don't have to say anything, even if the police are wanting to search. They have to have a legal reason to search. And if they find something and you bring this to my attention, we can use this to litigate a motion to suppress, which is to test the legality of the stop and to test whether or not the officers correctly had a reasonable suspicion of a crime or probable cause pursuant to the search and seizure amendment to the Constitution.
Can you explain some of the do's and don'ts for when you are pulled over by police officers?
When you are pulled over by a police officer, hopefully it's for a legal reason, but for whatever reason that they pull you over, you should be respectful to the officer. You have a right to not be respectful to an officer, but it's better to be very respectful to an officer when they're approaching you. That goes a long way in whatever happens with your discussion or your interaction with the officer. However, if an officer wants to search your car, you can refuse. And so if he asks you, can I search your car? You can say no. He has to have a legal reason at that point in order to ignore your denial of access to the car. And you can say it very nicely. When the officer says, I want to search your car, or can you give me consent? You can say, no, I do not give you consent. And then at that point, the officer has to have a legal reason in order to be able to search your car. And it's important for you to assert your constitutional rights because you can consent to waive them. And if you consent to waive them, then that doesn't give me the opportunity of litigating that aspect of your case. However, asserting your constitutional rights gives me the ability to litigate any issues involving the search and seizure of the evidence in your case.
While public defenders serve an important role in the legal system, why may it be more important to hire a private practice attorney if you're able?
There are some very good attorneys who serve with the public defender's office, but in choosing an attorney in the criminal defense field who works privately, you're choosing the qualifications and accountability of that specific person. When you get assigned a public defender from the public defender's office, you may get an attorney who is very conscientious about his or her work and the work that they're going to do for you. However, you don't get to choose that attorney. That attorney is assigned to you. When you call up my office, you can know that you're choosing a board-certified attorney who has a commitment to communication between you and I. And whenever you call, you're going to get an answer from my office regarding your question. And you're going to know that I am going to work up your case, I'm going to investigate every issue, and I'm going to provide you an answer as to what is going on in your case, what we can accomplish, what the options are, and I'm going to be working to the best options possible for your case.
So if somebody wants to contact you, how can they do that?
If you want to contact me, there are multiple ways of contacting me that are very straightforward. One is by calling me at 863-646-7636. That number works 24 hours, 7 days a week. I have an excellent answering service. So if you call at 10 o'clock at night on any day of the week or on the weekend, anytime during the weekend, you're going to get my answering service. You leave a message, I return your phone call. Also, I have a very good email address, lee@cohenlaw7.com, and I'm accessible to that email address. Those are the primary ways of getting in touch with me. I answer my email, I answer my phone calls. I'm here at the office, I answer my phone.
Well, thank you for being with us today. It was very informative.
Thank you, Mark.